Okay, so this is going to be kind of an open forum. We're just going to talk a little bit about your philosophies and your training. The first question I have for the both of you is, what is it about your training programs that help athletes take what they learned here and translate it into their respective sport?
Yeah, we have a lot of upfront conversations with parents and with athletes about what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And then I think everybody is kind of pigeonholed into thinking that they need this one particular thing. Examples of seeing a professional athlete do something, I need to do this to get better at my sport because this athlete of this sport professionally does it. But I think first and foremost is that we develop general athleticism. So they need a good amount of, all athletes need a good amount of work capacity, pretty much regardless of sport. And then we train, we do speed and agility training every day, at least to some capacity. Some days we do like linear sprint work. Other days we'll do multi-directional and agility type stuff, changing directions. And then after that, they have their own customized program that we feel is best fit for them. So number one, when they come in for their assessment, we need to qualify them for the exercises that we're going to give them. Can they do everything appropriately when we teach them how to do it?
Right.
And then two, what are their ability levels right now? A 13-year-old athlete comes in, never lifted a weight before. They're not going to see a barbell for first 6 to 9 months of their training program with us.
Right.
Whereas someone else comes in, 17 years old, plays football, has outstanding movement quality, and back squatting is part of their testing.
Yeah.
We may have to throw back squatting into their program where we usually don't.
Okay.
So we have a lot of flexibility within our programming that allows us to be whatever we want to be that's best fit for the athlete.
Yeah.
If you're a baseball player, there's certain things you're not going to do that you'll see football players doing that you're never going to do.
Right.
And then vice versa.
Yeah. Right.
So in that kind of, it kind of makes the job fun for us, at least from an athlete standpoint, because we get to assess these guys, we get to have conversations with them. We talk to them about what they feel is most important for them, and then we get to give them our 2 cents, what we think is best for them, and we come to some sort of a consensus of the directions we want to go, try to paint a long-term strategy for them to develop athletically, and then we develop their programs from there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because everybody brings something different to the table, and we're not necessarily, in these assessments, we're not necessarily telling people like, hey, this is what's going to happen, A, B, C. It's not like we have a program that's preset for anybody that walks in the door. We need to have a different approach with everybody based on what they want, what they need, how long they're training, and where they're at right now and where they want to get to.
Gotcha.
That's the one thing I like about you guys too, is that you tailor towards any specific athlete that comes in, whether they're soccer, football, baseball. Like that's the thing I really enjoy what you guys are providing, because it's very customized.
Yeah.
Like you said, like a baseball player or a pitcher is not going to be going and bench pressing in his program. He's probably not even going to really,
He'll never see a bar.
Right, exactly.
No.
So that's the thing I like about you guys.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing, I just want you to talk a little bit about why you feel it's necessary for young athletes to, learn how to train properly on a program. And just real quick, from personal experience, I didn't really realize my full potential as an athlete until I got to college and was on a structured program. So I think it's just, from my opinion, I think it's important that these athletes adopt this early on in their athletic journeys, I guess you could say. So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you should tell them a little bit about your whole middle school, high school training experience too in a second. But I think we all have a similar story to that.
Absolutely.
Which helps me connect with a lot of athletes.
Right. Because
I could tell them the stories of when I was 14 years old, day one in the weight room, how there was 25s on each side of the bar.
Yeah.
And the coach said, hey, you could probably do that. Go ahead and do a push jerk. It's like, what's a push jerk?
It's like, you got to push the biggest jerk off in the room.
And I was like, all right. So I just kind of like used my legs and I pushed the bar overhead. And I remember like getting the bar 2 inches above my head. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Put the bar down. And now I look back, I'm like, wow, that's insane. That's probably the exact same circumstance that so many athletes are put in,
right.
Which, based on what I just told you, we would say that's high risk, low reward training.
Right, absolutely.
And in high school in general, a lot of athletes are put in that situation because, like, I don't know who's watching the weight room, who's giving you your instruction, who wrote the program, who's telling you what you should do, and then who's making sure that the load is appropriate for your ability level.
Right.
Should you even be doing that exercise at all?
Right.
Regardless of the load that's selected. So there's so many variables that I think we appreciate, and like we kind of view as like an artistic component of what we do.
Right.
And like when we have conversation, we're all really stimulated about it. Like, oh yeah, this person's ready for barbells.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
Where do we
Yeah.
start them off? Right. Let's get them doing like really slow lowers for the first couple weeks, you know, and
Yeah.
like, and stuff like that we love, but like not a lot of people, not a lot of athletes are exposed to that.
Right.
And then I think a lot of athletes think that it's 1 = 1 in terms of I'm in the weight room training here, I'm in the weight room training there, and it's the same exact thing. So I think it's important that athletes do get proper training, whether it's at your high school. There's plenty of high schools that have great strength coaches.
Right.
Right.
The majority do not, or a strength coach at all.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that athletes are, number one, the individuality of their sport and of them personally is taken into account when developing a program for these people. And then after that, making sure that they're progressing appropriately instead of, again, going back to my story, the workout is on the wall. We do these 4 exercises Monday. We do these 4 exercises Wednesday. We do these 4 exercises Friday.
Right.
And then you go as hard as you possibly can, because if your buddy outlifts you, it's a big problem to your ego. So
Right.
you don't let that guy push jerk more than you,
Right.
even if you drop the bar on your head.